Welcome to Transformational Fighting Arts Online. I'm Sifu Marcus Lovemore. Today we're going to go over some basic fundamental techniques. Basically, we're going to go over the push shuffle or the step and slide. And just to go over what the push shuffle and step and slide are before I start. The push shuffle is just a more dynamic, more airborne, more dynamic version of the step and slide. So I'm going to go over the step and slide first, and then we're going to translate it into the push shuffle. Now, this is something you're going to be using all the time, consistently. And the first guideline of the step and slide and the push shuffle, when you start combining it with your punching and your kicking, but mostly your punching, is that remember the 3 to 2 to 1 rule, okay? Is that if it's 3 moves, make it 2. If it's 2 moves, make it 1. And the big issue is having your punch hitting the mark at the same time your front foot hits the ground. Because you don't want the energy to go into the ground, you want it to go into your opponent. So always keep that in mind when you're combining this with any other hand techniques, okay? So, the step and slide, it's very simple. Get into your Baizhang, and if you don't know what the Baizhang is, go to my fundamentals video on the on-guard stance or the Baizhang, okay? Get in your on-guard stance. And the big issue with the step and slide, it's really simple. You take your front foot and you step forward. And then you take your back foot and you slide it up. Now, what you really want to keep in mind when you're first doing this is to make sure that you start in your on-guard stance and you end in your on-guard stance, right? So if I'm doing this to the side a little bit, right? And I step and slide, right? Remember that when I step and slide, I don't collapse my Baizhang, okay? Or that when I'm stepping and slide towards you, I don't step and slide and then square up. I always want to be in my Baizhang stance or my on-guard stance every time I begin and end any motion. Because out of that on-guard stance comes all of your weapons. And so you don't give anybody a tell, because if you're not in your on-guard stance, it lets your opponent understand that certain weapons are not usable from that positioning, okay? So, one more time. The step and slide, very simple, right? Hands up, step and slide. So, the other big issue is that when you're stepping and sliding, all of the counterweighting and all of the balance is in your legs, so you want a slight bend in your legs, and you want to keep your rear heel up. But you don't want to really disturb your upper body, because that's what most people are looking at. And if you're disturbing your upper body forward or backwards or left or right, what happens is it looks like this pendulum kind of thing. What you want is a very stable upper body, right? You want all the motion to be in your legs. The other thing is you want all of your power, all of your motion to go forward. You want as little as up and down motion as you can. So less of that, right? Less big steps and bounciness. You want it almost like you were on ice and you wanted to glide over the ice. Glide over the ice. Remember to stay off of your tightrope while you're doing that. So that is the step and slide. Step and slide backward is the exact opposite. You pick up the rear leg, step, and then slide, right? So step and slide, step and slide. Very simple, very easy. Use that to get around forward and backwards. Now, to translate into the push-up, the more dynamic version of that, where most of your hitting is going to come out from, and it takes up much more distance. You can cover much more distance. It's a much more dynamic version. In the step and slide, what's going on is one foot is always on the ground. But in the push shuffle, you actually get airborne for a second. But you're only airborne about that much off the ground, okay? So, the push shuffle, it's the same technique like the step and slide, but when you do raise this front leg, you jettison off this back leg. So it's very dynamic, right? And the backwards one is the same thing. You raise this leg, and then you jettison off this front leg. Dynamic. The same concepts apply, though, that you want to keep your torso relatively stable. You don't want to step and slide or push shuffle like that, like you're jumping over anything. You want all your energy to fly towards your target. And let me reiterate, as this front foot hits the ground, your front hand should hit your target, either before it hits the ground or at the same time. if your front hand is hitting the target after your front foot hits the ground, you're translating the majority of your momentum into the ground and not into your target, and it's just a waste of energy, okay? So, the push shuffle, once again, boom, boom, right? Boom, boom. And towards you, remember, you don't want to collapse your baizhang. You don't want to collapse your baizhang. Feet too close together. Another thing you don't want to do is square up, right? Too many targets here. So you want to keep that center line, keep each foot on both sides of the center line, keep your on-guard stance stable, and bang, bang, right? Bang, bang, okay? That's the push shuffle. So if you have any questions, just go to Transformational Fighting Arts online, post a comment, anything, I'll answer anything you want. And remember, all of this good material is only put up through your donation. So please donate something, anything from $1 to $1,000, anything I will accept, because that's the only way I keep up this free material. So, I'm Sifu Marcus Lovemore. This is Transformational Fighting Arts Online. Remember, it's not about knowing it, it's about living it. Thanks.